Hello world, this is Bible Time Capsule. I'm Citizen. Today's reading is for September 29th, 2013. We are in chapter 32 of Numbers. Let's begin then. Chapter 32. Request of Gad and Ruben. Now, the Reubenites and the Gadites had a very large number of livestock. Noticing that the land of Jazer and of Galaad was grazing country, they came to Moses and the priest Eleazar and to the princes of the community and said, the region of Ataroth, Dibon, Jazer, Nemrah, Hesebon, Eliel, Sabamah, Nebo, and Baal Maon, which the Lord has laid low before the community of Israel, is grazing country. Now, since your servants have livestock, they continued, if we find favor with you, let this land be given to your servants as their property. Do not make us cross the Jordan. Next section, Moses' rebuke. But Moses answered the Gadites and the Reubenites, are your kinsmen, then, to engage war while you remain here? Why do you wish to discourage the Israelites from crossing the land the Lord has given them? That is just what your fathers did when I sent them from Cades Barn, that's Cades -Barne, to reconnoiter the land. That's just what they did. They went up to the Wadi Eschol and reconnoitered the land, then so discouraged the Israelites that they would not enter the land the Lord had given them. At that time the wrath of the Lord flared up, and he swore, because they have not followed me unreservedly, none of these men of 20 years or more who have come up from Egypt shall ever see this country I promised under the oath of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, except for Senezite Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and Joshua, son of Nun, who have followed the Lord unreservedly. So in his anger with the Israelites, the Lord made them wander in the desert for 40 years, until the whole generation that had done evil in the sight of the Lord had died out. And now here you are, a brood of sinners, rising up in your father's place to add still more to the Lord's blazing wrath against the Israelites. If you turn away from following him, he will make them stay still longer in the desert. And so you will bring about the ruin of the whole nation, of this whole nation. Next section, counter proposal. Oh, they pushing it. But they were insistent with him. We wish only to build sheepfolds here for our flocks and towns for our families, but we ourselves will march as troops in the van of the Israelites until we have led them to their destination. Meanwhile, our families can remain here in the fortified towns, safe from attack by the natives. We will not return to our homes until every one of the Israelites has taken possession of his heritage, and will not claim any heritage with them once we cross the Jordan, so long as we receive a heritage for ourselves on this eastern side of the Jordan. Next section. Agreement reached. Moses said to them in reply, if you keep your word to march as troops in the Lord's vanguard, and to cross the Jordan in full force before the Lord until he has driven his enemies out of his way, and the land is subdued before him, then you may return here. Quit of every obligation to the Lord and to Israel, and this region shall be your possession before the Lord. But if you do not do this, you will sin against the Lord, and you can be sure that you will not escape the consequences of your sin. Build the towns then for your families, and the folds for your flocks, but also fulfill your express promise. The Gadites and Reubenites answered Moses, your servants will do as you command, my Lord. While our wives and children, our herds and other livestock remains in the town of Galaad, all your servants will go across as armed troops to battle before the Lord, just as your lordship says. Moses therefore gave this order in their regard to the priest Eleazar, to Joshua son of Nun, and to the heads of the ancestral tribes of the Israelites. If all that he gave and to the heads of the ancestral tribes of the Israelites. If all of the Gadites and the Reubenites cross the Jordan with you as combat troops before the Lord, you shall give them Galaad as their property when the land has been subdued before you. But if they will not go across with you as combat troops before the Lord, you shall bring their wives and their children and livestock across before you into Chanaan, and they shall have their property with you in the land of Chanaan. To this, the Gadites and Reubenites replied, we will do what the Lord has commanded us, your servants. We ourselves will go across into the land of Chanaan as troops before the Lord, but we will retain our hereditary property on this side of the Jordan. So Moses gave them, the Gadites and the Reubenites, as well as half the tribe of the Manasseh, son of Joseph, the kingdom of Sihon, king of Amorites, and the kingdom of Og, king of Bashan, the land with its towns and districts that surrounded them. The Gadites rebuilt the fortified towns of Dibon, Adaroth, Aroer, Adaroth, Sophon, Jaser, Jagba'ah, Beth Nimrah, and Beth Haran. And they built sheepfolds. The Reubenites rebuilt Hesabon, Eliel, Kiriathaim, Nebo, Baal Ma'un, names to be changed, and Sabama. These towns, which they rebuilt, they called by their old names. Next section, other conquests. The descendants of Machir, son of Manasseh, invaded Galaad and captured it, driving out the Amorites who were there. Moses gave Galaad to Machir, son of Manasseh, and he settled there. Jair, a Manassehite clan, campaigned against the tent villages, captured them, and called them Havoth Jair. Nobi also campaigned against Canaan, captured it with its dependencies, and called it Nobi after his own name. That's the end of chapter 32 of Numbers. This is Bible Time Capsule. I am Citizen. Peace. I'm out.